Auditing heat treaters. Hello and welcome to URGS International Certification and Inspection Private Limited. In today's technical session, we are going to discuss an important topic for the automotive, engineering, forging, fastener, oil and gas, and general manufacturing industries. Auditing heat treaters means a practical approach to heat treatment process auditing. Heat treatment is one of the most critical special process in manufacturing. Unlike many conventional manufacturing processes, the quality of a heat treated component cannot always be completely verified through final inspection alone. A component may have the correct dimensions and surface appearance, but its internal microstructure, hardness, strength, toughness, and metallurgical properties may still be unacceptable. Therefore, effective auditing of heat treatment process is essential. In this session, we will discuss how to audit a heat treater systematically, including heat treatment specifications, furnace and equipment controls, process parameters, temperature measurement, calibration, load identification and traceability, quenching systems, atmosphere control, hardness and microstructure verification, records and documentation, non-conforming product, preventive controls, operator competence, internal auditing, common heat treatment audit findings. So let us begin. What is heat treatment? Heat treatment is a controlled process involving heating, holding and cooling of metallic materials to obtain the required metallurgical properties. Typical heat treatment process include annealing, normalizing, stress relieving, hardening, quenching, tempering, carburizing, carbonitriding, nitriding, induction hardening, solution treatment, aging, wash tempering, other specialized treatments. Each process is designed to achieve a specific metallurgical objective. For example, annealing may be used to soften the material and improve machinability. Normalizing can refine the microstructure and improve mechanical properties. Hardening is generally used to increase hardness and strength. Tempering is performed after hardening to achieve the required balance of hardness, strength, and toughness. Carburizing or carbonitriding can produce a hard surface layer while maintaining a tougher core. Therefore, when we audit a heat treatment process, we are not simply checking whether the furnace temperature was correct. We are checking whether the entire process is capable of consistently producing the required metallurgical properties. Now, why is the heat treatment auditing important? Heat treatment is often classified as a special process because process results cannot always be fully verified by subsequent inspection. Consider a bolt. After heat treatment, we may perform dimensional inspection and hardness testing. However, hardness testing alone may not reveal improper core microstructure, excessive retent austenite, grain coarsening, decarburization, internal cracking, improper transformation, incorrect case depth, improper tempering, furnace atmosphere problems. Therefore, process control is extremely important. An effective audit should answer a fundamental question. Can this heat treatment process consistently produce conforming products? Then next is preparation before the audit. Before entering the heat treatment shop, an auditor should prepare properly. The first stage is to understand the applicable requirements. These may include customer specifications, drawing requirements, purchase order requirements, material specifications, heat treatment specifications, applicable standards, internal procedures, work instructions, control plans, process flow diagrams, previous audit reports, customer complaints, non-conformity reports. The auditor should understand what characteristics are critical. For example, is hardness specified? Is tensile strength specified? Is case depth specified? Is microstructure specified? Is decarburization controlled? Is distortion controlled? Is quenching medium specified? Is atmosphere control required? These requirements become the basis for the audit. Then next is review the heat treatment process flow. Before auditing individual parameters, understand the complete process flow. A typical process may look like material receipt, identification, pre-cleaning, loading, heating, soaking, quenching, tempering, cooling, cleaning, inspection, testing, final release. The auditor should verify that controls exist at each important stage. For example, how is material identified, how is the correct heat treatment recipe selected, how is the load quantity determined, who authorizes the furnace program, how is the furnace temperature monitored, how is quenching controlled, how is tempering controlled, how are inspection results recorded, how is product release. These questions help the auditor understand the process rather than simply checking documents. Next is material identification and traceability. One of the first areas to audit is material identification. Heat treatment must be performed on the correct material. The auditor should verify material grade, heat number, batch number, lot number, component identification, quantity, purchase documentation, material test certificate. The auditor should physically follow a batch through the process. For example, can the auditor take one finished batch and trace it backward to the heat treatment load? Can the load be traced to the material heat number? Can the auditor identify the furnace cycle? Can the furnace cycle be linked to the hardness and microstructure results? If traceability is broken, the organization may have difficulty proving that the correct process was applied to the correct product. The next is review of the heat treatment specifications. The auditor should verify that the heat treatment specification is clearly defined. A good specification may include material grade, heating temperature, soaking time, heating rate where applicable, cooling requirements, quenching medium, tempering temperature, tempering time, required hardness, required microstructure, case depth where applicable, decarburization requirements, acceptance criteria. The auditor should compare the specification with the actual furnace recipe. A common audit finding is a match between the approved specification and the furnace program. For example, the work instruction may specify one temperature while the furnace controller contains another recipe. This is a significant process control issue. And next is furnace equipment audit. The furnace is one of the most important pieces of equipment in a heat treatment operation. The auditor should verify furnace identification, furnace capacity, operating range, heating system, temperature control system, controller condition, recorder condition, thermocouples, atmosphere control system, quenching system, cooling system, safety devices. The auditor should also examine the physical condition of the furnace. Look for damaged insulation, temperature uniformity problems, broken thermocouples, leaks, burner problems, controller alarms, improper maintenance, unusual temperature fluctuations. The auditor should not limit the audit to paperwork. Always compare documented controls with actual shop floor conditions. Temperature control. Temperature is one of the most critical parameters in heat treatment. The auditor should verify how temperature is measured, controlled, recorded, calibrated, verified. Important questions include what type of thermocouple is used, where is the thermocouple located, is the control thermocouple suitable for the application, is the temperature recorder functioning, is the temperature profile recorded, are alarms available, what happens if the temperature exceeds the permitted range. The auditor should also review historical charts. Do not only look at the latest chart. Review several production batches. The objective is to determine whether the process is consistently controlled. And next is calibration and temperature measurement system. Calibration is a critical audit area. Temperature measuring instruments should be calibrated or verified at defined intervals against suitable standards. The auditor should check furnace controller calibration, recorder calibration, thermocouple calibration, temperature indicators, portable measuring instruments, reference instruments. The auditor should verify calibration status physically. Do not rely only on certificates. Check the identification number on the instrument and compare it with the calibration certificate. Also verify calibration date, due date, measurement range, calibration method, reference standard, traceability of the calibration. If an instrument is found outside calibration, the auditor asks what happened to the product's process using this instrument. This leads to another important concept: impact assessment of measurement system failure. Then next is 10th, temperature uniformity. Temperature uniformity is another important area. A furnace may display 850 degrees Celsius at the controller, but that does not automatically mean that every location inside the furnace is at 850 degrees Celsius. There may be temperature gradients. Therefore, temperature uniformity studies may be required depending on the process and applicable requirements. The auditor should review temperature uniformity study, furnace survey results, acceptance criteria, sensor locations, survey frequency, corrective actions. If a furnace has a non-cold zone or hot zone, loading practices may need to account for it. Now, load configuration. Load configuration can significantly affect heat treatment results. The auditor should verify whether the organization has defined requirements for load quality, quantity, component arrangement, spacing, basket configuration, fixer design, maximum load, minimum load, component orientation. An overloaded furnace may result in inadequate heating or soaking. Similarly, poor arrangement may affect heat transfer. The auditor should observe an actual production load and compare it with the approved loading instructions. Now next is soaking time and heat penetration. Achieving furnace temperature is not necessarily the same as achieving component temperature. The auditor should understand how soaking time is determined. The process may specify furnace temperature, component temperature, minimum soaking time, effective section size. The auditor should verify that operators understand the difference. For thick components, the center of the component may take longer to reach the required temperature. Therefore, heat treatment parameters should be based on technically justified requirements. The next is quenching system audit. For hardening processes, quenching is extremely important. The auditor should examine quench medium, quench temperature, concentration, agitation, flow, tank condition, tank capacity, cooling system, contamination, maintenance, monitoring frequency. For oil quenching, the auditor may review oil temperature, oil condition, viscosity where applicable, contamination, cooling capacity. For polymer quenching, concentration and temperature may be particularly important. For water quenching, temperature and agitation can significantly affect cooling severity. The auditor should verify that quenching parameters are controlled according to the applicable process specification. And next is quenching severity and process consistency. Quenching is not simply about putting a hot component into a liquid. The cooling rate determines the transformation of the material. If the cooling rate is too slow, the required hardened structure may not form. If it is too severe, the component may develop cracking, distortion, residual stresses. Therefore, the auditor should evaluate whether the quenching process is capable of achieving the required metallurgical condition without creating unacceptable defects. Then 15th is tempering audit. Tempering is often underestimated. After hardening, the component may have high hardness but also significant internal stresses and undesirable brittleness. Tempering is therefore used to obtain the required combination of properties. The auditor should verify tempering temperature, tempering time, number of tempering cycles, furnace temperature control, cooling method, load identification, records. For critical products, the auditor should verify that tempering is performed within the specified time after quenching. The next is 16th, atmosphere control. For certain heat treatment processes, furnace atmosphere is critical. Atmosphere control may involve carbon potential, oxygen potential, dew point, gas flow, gas composition, furnace pressure. For carburizing, the auditor should verify how carbon potential is controlled. The auditor should review gas analysis, sensor condition, calibration, control charts, alarm systems, correction actions. Improper atmosphere control can result in decarburization, excessive carburization, incorrect gas depth, surface hardness problems, oxidation, poor metallurgical properties. Then 17th, decarburization audit. Decarburization is the loss of carbon from the surface of steel during heating. It can reduce surface hardness and fatigue performance. The auditor should verify specification for decarburization, furnace atmosphere controls, inspection method, sampling plan, acceptance criteria, metallographic examination. For critical components, metallographic examination may be necessary. The auditor should not assume that a component is acceptable simply because the overall hardness is correct. Then 18th, case hardening audit. For cauterized or carbon nitride components, the auditor should verify case depth measure requirement, surface hardness, core hardness, carbon profile where applicable, microstructure, heat treatment cycle. quenching, tempering. The auditor should understand the difference between total case depth and effective case depth. The applicable definition and acceptance criteria should always come from the relevant specification or customer requirement. Then 19th, hardness testing. Hardness testing is one of the most common verification methods after heat treatment. The auditor should examine hardness testing equipment, calibration or verification, test method, test location, sample preparation, frequency, acceptance criteria, operator competence, records. Different hardness skills may be used such as Rockwell, Brinell, Vickers, Micro Vickers. The auditor should verify that the selected method is appropriate for the material and product. The next is microstructure examination. A strong heat treatment audit should not focus only on hardness. Microstructure provides important information about whether the required metallurgical transformation occurred. Depending on the material and process, the auditor may review structures such as ferrite, pearlite, benite, martensite, tempered martensite, carbides, retained austenite. The auditor should verify applicable microstructure specification, sample preparation, etching procedure, magnification, acceptance criteria, metallographer competence, records. Microstructure examination can help identify problems that hardness testing alone may not detect. Now next is distortion and crack control. 21st. Heat treatment can cause dimensional changes. The auditor should verify whether dimensional inspection is required after heat treatment, check critical dimensions, straightness, roundness, warpage, distortion, cracks. For hardened components, crack inspection may involve suitable NDT methods such as magnetic particle testing, liquid penetrant testing. The applicable inspection method should be determined by product requirements and relevant specifications. Then 22, operator competence. Even the best furnace cannot produce consistent results if the operators are not competent. The auditor should verify operator competence in furnace operation, recipe selection, loading, quenching, tempering, safety, product identification, handling of non-conforming products, record completion. Training records should be available. However, the auditor should also verify practical competence. Ask the operator, what would you do if the furnace temperature exceeds the permitted limit? Or what would you do if the quench temperature is outside the specified range? The answers can provide valuable audit evidence. Then 23rd, maintenance. Heat treatment equipment requires preventive maintenance. The auditor should review maintenance programs for furnaces, burners, heating elements, thermocouples, controllers, fans, quench pumps, agitators, cooling systems, atmosphere systems, safety systems. The auditor should check whether maintenance problems are properly recorded and closed. Repeated environment failures may indicate that the preventive maintenance program is not effective. 24. Non-conforming product control. The auditor should investigate how heat treatment non-conformities are handled. Examples include low hardness, excessive hardness, incorrect microstructure, incorrect case depth, excessive decarburization, quench cracking, distortion, incorrect heat treatment cycle, missing records, incorrect material identification. The auditor should verify that non-conforming products are identified, segregated or controlled, evaluated, dispositioned, reprocessed where permitted, re-inspected, properly recorded. A critical question is, can non-conforming heat-treated material accidentally enter the next process? The next is 25th, rework and reheat treatment. Rework is another important audit area. If a batch fails hardness testing, can it simply be reprocessed? The answer depends on the applicable specification and technical requirements. The organization should have defined controls for rework authorization, reheat treatment, maximum number of cycles where applicable, identification, new process records, re-inspection, final approval. Repeated reheat treatment may alter metallurgical properties. Therefore, it should never be treated as an informal activity. The next is records and documented information. Heat treatment records provide evidence that the process was performed correctly. Typical records include furnace cycle charts, load sheets, temperature records, quench records, tempering records, hardness reports, microstructure reports, case depth reports, calibration reports, calibration records, furnace survey reports, maintenance records, non-conformity reports. The auditor should check whether records are complete, legible, traceable, protected, retrievable, returned for the required period. And next is audit trial, a practical example. Let's consider a practical audit trial. Suppose the auditor selects one batch of heat treated bolts. The auditor starts with the finished product. First, what is the batch number? Then which heat treatment load was used. Then next, what material heat number was used. What furnace was used. What recipe was selected. What was the actual temperature cycle. What was the soaking time. What was the quenching condition. What tempering cycle was used. What hardness results were obtained. What microstructure results were obtained. Who approved the batch. Can all of these records be connected? This is called following the process trail. It is often more effective than checking documents randomly. The next is commonly audit findings in heat treatment. Let's now discuss some common findings. Finding number 1, the furnace calibration is expired. Finding number 2, the furnace recipe does not match the approved heat treatment specification. Finding number 3, load identification is incomplete. Finding number 4, hardness testing equipment verification is not current. Finding number 5, quench temperature is not monitored. Finding number 6, temperature charts are incomplete or missing. Finding number 7, operators are not adequately trained. Finding number 8, non-conforming batches are not properly segregated. Finding number 9, maintenance reports are incomplete. Finding number 10, microstructure requirements are not clearly defined. These findings may appear simple, but they can have serious consequences for product performance. Now 29th, how to write good heat treatment audit findings. An auditor should avoid writing vague statements. For example, heat treatment control is poor. This is not a strong audit finding. Instead, identify requirement evidence gap. For example, the approved heat treatment instruction requires a specified tempering temperature range. During the audit, the furnace recipe for the sample production batch was found outside the specified range. This is objective evidence. The auditor should avoid assumptions and personal opinions. Audit conclusions should be based on objective evidence. Then 30, questions an auditor should ask. Here are some useful audit questions. To the quality manager, how are heat treatment requirements defined? How are customer requirements communicated to production? How are heat treatment procedures controlled? To the heat treatment engineer, how is the furnace recipe established? How is the load configuration determined? How is the process capability evaluated? To the operator, how do you select the correct recipe? What do you do if the temperature exceeds the limit? How do you identify the load? To the inspector, how do you perform hardness testing? How do you verify the hardness tester? What are the acceptance criteria? To maintenance, how are furnace failures controlled? How frequently are thermocouples replaced? How is preventive maintenance planned? These questions help the auditor evaluate whether the system is actually implemented. Then 31, risk-based auditing of heat treatment. A modern audit should be risk-based. Not every heat treatment parameter has the same level of risk. For a critical safety component, the auditor may give greater attention to temperature control, quenching, hardness, microstructure, traceability, calibration, non-conforming product. Risk-based auditing means focusing audit resources where process failures could have the greatest impact. 32. Final audit checklist. Before closing the audit, the auditor should ensure that the following areas have been covered: material identification, heat treatment specification, furnace condition, temperature control, calibration, temperature uniformity, load configuration, heating and soaking, quenching, tempering, atmosphere control, hardness testing, microstructure examination, case depth, decarburization, dimensional control, crack inspection, operator competence, maintenance, non-conforming product, rework, traceability, records, internal audits, corrective actions, management review and control improvement where applicable. At last, conclusion. Heat treatment auditing is much more than checking furnace temperature records. An effective auditor must understand the relationship between material to process parameter, to metallurgical transformation, to microstructure, to mechanical properties, to product performance. The objective is not simply to determine whether the furnace was operated. The objective is to determine whether the heat treatment process is controlled, capable, repeatable, and capable of meeting specified requirements. A good heat treatment audit combines technical knowledge plus process understanding plus metallurgical knowledge plus quality system auditing plus objective evidence. When these elements are combined, the audit becomes a powerful tool for preventing failures rather than simply detecting them after production. Now, at last closing, URGS. Thank you for watching this training session on auditing heat treaters, a practical approach to heat treatment process auditing. For professional training, consultancy, inspection, auditing, and certification support in quality management, metallurgical engineering, heat treatment, NDT, and inspection, you can contact URGS International Certification and Inspection Private Limited. Our email ID is info@urgsiso.com. Our mobile number is +91 73 59 45 8455. This is our WhatsApp number also. We are 24/7 available on WhatsApp. Please message first on WhatsApp for your query. For more technical training videos and professional engineering and quality management content, follow URGS International Certification and Inspection Private Limited. URGS building competence, quality and confidence in industry. Thank you and see you in the next technical session.